We're continuing with our look at color. We did a couple of times ago, we did cool colors, which is the blues and the greens. And then last time we did warm colors, which are reds, yellows, and purple is one of those transition. It's both cool and warm depending upon how it's used. When you mix the two, here in this image we have cool color, which is green. Some of this green down in here goes into a bluish green. It gets a little more yellow up in there. And then this wonderful yellow spot in the middle of this daisy is a warm color. And so we get to see the interplay between cool colors and warm colors. Warm colors tend to come forward, or pop as we call it. Cooler colors tend to recede or lay in the background. And that works very well here because we want the daisy to look like it's coming up out of the greenery, and it has the illusion of doing that. There are two other things we'll do with this particular exercise. One is we're going to use a Prismacolor Art Sticks, S-T-I-X. See if I can get the box here. Prismacolor Art Sticks. And they are, this is the box, they are, it's a colored pencil, but it's not in the casing with wood and so forth like this pencil, but it's the same material. So what you're drawing with here, what you're drawing with this stick, is the same material, so that you can use them together, which is great because with the art stick, you can get down broad sweeps of color. And it's not only quicker to cover a surface, but the markings can be much more interesting, much more spontaneous. See if I can get this close to the camera so you can see it. And a little, less self-conscious in taking a pencil and trying to make interesting marks with that without getting so invested in the particular shapes and designs of the image. So it's a little more, I'll use the word fluid. That's not a technical term, but that's the way it comes to me. So in this particular, also, it's much easier, I'm finding, to get what is called an atmospheric perspective. There's a couple of different kinds of perspective. A linear perspective would be how this daisy appears round, which if you were looking directly down on the daisy, it would be a round shape. When it's tipped a little bit, it's more elliptical. That is a shape like this. So this is a round shape, and this would be an elliptical shape. So linear perspective wise, the daisies in the front have a rounder look to them. As you go back, they get more elliptical. They get wider than they are tall. And that's what gives the illusion of it going back into space. The other thing is atmospheric perspective, which is where things close to the eye are very sharp, contrasted. The edges are very sharp and distinct. As it goes back into the distance, you lose the detail of these petals until finally here you can't pick out any individual petals. So using those two elements, the linear perspective, which is the shape of the thing as it changes, and the atmospheric perspective, where things become indistinct as they go back in the background, should give this the illusion of looking like a field of daisies, which could be kind of fun. So the way I used this art stick with this particular image was I went in sort of thinking of petals of a daisy, but not really drawing the petals. I'm just making marks that are sort of reminiscent of the daisy there. And then I'm coloring in some of the background. Then I have a daisy in the background here that, as I said, I want to make a little bit elliptical. So I'm just leaving the white for the white part. I'll go back and put the, here I have these very distinct circles in the middle of my drawing, but that's okay. And then I would just move across here and leave white spaces where I wanted them to indicate daisies. So I can stay pretty loose at this stage. Here's one that I started earlier and have been working on. And when after this phase, I went in with a green pencil and colored the darkness in between the petals. So I'm not really even drawing the petals, I'm drawing the spaces between the petals, and that's giving them a very sort of daisy petalish look. Because daisies, if you're familiar with them, they have long stems and they're kind of heavy on the top, so when the breeze catches them, they kind of move around. So you don't ever see a perfectly outlined petal daisy. I put the yellow in here, and then I went in with blue and got even more distinct in these foreground petals, because what is closest to us is the most contrasted and distinct. Then I went over it with a little bit of yellow just to get a green, gives it a kind of glowing glaze, and it makes it a little more green. So I would continue around to about this point, I think. That's where the distinctness really stops. And then when I get to the back here, I'll be much less exact in getting that tone down there and leave those edges fairly indistinct. And in this part, way back here, I'll be really indistinct, just indicating some of these little areas where the petals converge into the middle, and just leave it really indistinct. And continue around as far as I wanted to. Maybe I would only just do this section, or maybe this section would be the most interesting to focus on. Whatever I felt I had time to do a piece of art that I felt had some interest and appeal to it.